I'm Jordan Troxel. I work for Troy Designs, Lucas Oil Honda, for Tara Geiger and Jesse Nelson. And this week's Transworld How-To presented by Lucas Oil, I will walk you through how to race prep your bike. This is something that's very important to all of us mechanics, and we do it every time our bike hits the track, before every practice, every qualifier, and every main or moto. And it just gives us peace of mind, and we nut and bolt everything that you can visually see and more on the bike. So I'll walk you through how to do that on Travis Baker's race bike. First thing, I have my own pattern that I like to follow, and every mechanic probably has his own different one. But basically I start with my T-handles at the smallest with the 8mm, and I'll start at one corner of the bike, and I'll just walk my way through and check every 8mm nut all the way around. Plastic bolts are crucial with the vibration. They come loose, after a long moto especially, if you're not using Loctite or anything. Here's a crucial 8mm bolt, is this one that holds the ground wire through the radiator bolt. Definitely want to check this one often, because if it comes loose, you'll lose ground contact, and it'll make the bike cut off, and that could be a bad situation if it's on the track. After that, I'll just grab a 10 and do the same thing all the way around with all the 10mm bolts. And a lot of these bolts have a certain torque. If I notice that any of them is loose and I need to tighten them with a T-handle, I'll just make a mental note and walk straight back to the toolbox and grab my torque wrench and torque them to spec. Then I'll do the same thing with the 12 and the 14, all the way around. After that, I'll move up to my 17 and my 19 and check my shock bolts and my linkage bolts. Once I'm done with my T-handles, I'll move into my Allens, and then I'll just go over and check every Allen that's on the bike all the way around. And these Allens right here can be especially important with, especially if you're running a whole shot device, because it holds a lot of pressure when it's engaged, so they can come loose easy. Then after I'm done with my Allens, I'll move to my wrenches. I'll start at the biggest wrench I have, which is my 32. Then I'll just work my way down the list. and a few very crucial ones are sprocket bolts. These are something everybody should check often. A lot of torque gets delivered to this sprocket, and these things can come loose if you don't keep an eye on them. Another thing that is also important is your rim lock. I check that often. A lot of guys have spun rim locks or spun tires from a loose rim lock, and it results in a lot of flats that you see out at your local track. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. And I'll go all the way down through every wrench, all the way down to my 7mm to check this brake cap. Once I'm done there, I'll come to my screwdriver drawer. And this is a very crucial one. It's this air boot clamp that's way down in here that most people neglect. You can't see it. But it's important to check as well, because if that comes off, then you can suck dirt through there and ruin your engine. And once I've gone through all my T-handles and my wrenches and my screwdrivers and everything, I'll check all my controls, make sure they're all functioning properly, check my oil, make sure my chain tension is correct, and coolant as well. And the last thing before we go on the track is I'll set tire pressure to whatever we're going to run that day, and make sure my fuel is topped off before we hit the track. So that's it for doing your race prep. I would recommend doing that for your local guy at least every Friday night or something before you hit a race weekend, maybe once or twice during the week. It's something that is very important that a lot of guys overlook, and you see guys riding around on the track with plastic falling off or bolts missing. This is something that could easily prevent that. So for Transworld Motocross How-To presented by Lucas Oil, that's how to race prep your bike before your weekend.